Every day, over 3.5 billion people log on to social media to show the world exactly what they are doing, what they are eating, and who they are with. In a world that rewards constant attention, being visible has become the new social currency. But have you ever noticed that one person who never posts? No selfies, no vacation updates, no digital trail of their existence. While everyone else is shouting for a like, they choose to remain invisible. And here's what most people get wrong. They think these people are shy, antisocial, or even boring. But psychology reveals the exact opposite. People who don't share their photos online often possess a level of confidence, emotional intelligence, and inner security that most people spend their whole lives trying to find. They aren't hiding from the world. They are protecting something the rest of us are losing. You weren't always living in a digital glass house. There was a time when your memories belonged only to you. But today, the pressure to post or it didn't happen has created a massive psychological burden. When you see someone who refuses to participate in this performance, you're actually looking at a rare form of psychological freedom. They have escaped the like economy. They don't need to announce their life to feel good about it. This isn't just a habit, it's a powerful sign of a high privacy orientation. They value control over their mental space more than the temporary dopamine hit of a stranger's approval. You aren't watching someone who is out of touch. You are watching someone who is deeply in touch with themselves. But what most people never realize is that this choice to remain silent isn't just a personality trait. It's a sophisticated psychological defense mechanism that keeps their brain from falling into a dangerous trap. In a moment, I'm going to reveal the specific neurological reason why these silent individuals are often the most stable people in your life. And it's something most influencers would find terrifying. The first major aha insight is the concept of self-validation versus external validation. Most social media users are caught in a feedback loop. They post, they wait for a reaction, and their brain releases dopamine based on that reaction. Over time, their self-worth becomes externalized. But the person who doesn't post has an internal locus of evaluation. This means they judge their own value by their own standards, not by a count of heart-shaped icons. When they have a great meal or a beautiful moment, the experience itself is the reward. They don't need to digitize the moment to make it real. If you are one of these people, you possess a secure self-esteem, a type of confidence that doesn't need an audience to survive. You are the director of your life, not the exhibit. This leads us to a deeper psychological layer: self-concept clarity. Research shows that people who share less online often have a much stronger sense of who they actually are. When you spend your day framing your life for others, you start to see yourself through their eyes. You become a brand instead of a person. But the silent observer doesn't have that problem. Their identity is anchored in reality, not in a grid of photos. They aren't chasing trends or measuring their worth against someone else's highlight reel. This makes them significantly less anxious and more focused on real-world goals. They aren't performing for the world, they are living for themselves. But here's the thing. This ability to stay quiet in a loud world wasn't just a random trait you picked up yesterday. It was actually forged long before you even owned a phone. The roots of this behavior often go back to your early emotional development. While some people grew up needing constant praise to feel safe, others learned that true security comes from within. If you are the type of person who stays low-key, chances are you grew up in an environment where you didn't have to perform for love. You learned that your value was intrinsic. Psychologists call this secure attachment. You don't feel the need to broadcast your life because you don't feel a void that needs to be filled by strangers. Your younger self learned that being seen by the right people was enough. So your adult self doesn't feel the need to be seen by everyone. You aren't hiding your life. You are simply keeping it sacred. Neurologically, this is where the science gets fascinating. Your brain has a specific region responsible for social comparison, the process of measuring yourself against others. For the average social media user, this region is constantly overstimulated, leading to what researchers call social comparison theory stress. But for the person who doesn't post, this stress is drastically lower. By staying offline, they are literally protecting their brain's threat detection centers from the exhaustion of constant comparison. They aren't missing out on the conversation. They are avoiding the mental fatigue that comes with it. They've realized that the digital world is an illusion, and they've made the executive decision to stay grounded in the physical one. Here is another aha moment that most people miss. Silence is a boundary, not a lack of content. In psychology, privacy regulation is the ability to choose when and how you reveal yourself. People who don't post are masters of this. They understand that once you put a photo online, you lose ownership of that moment. It becomes public property for anyone to judge, criticize, or distort. By keeping their photos to themselves, they are maintaining relational intimacy. They believe that some memories are too valuable to be shared with 500 friends who don't actually know their last name. They aren't being secretive, they are being selective. They know that true connection happens in the room, not in the comment section. But here's the real twist that most people get wrong. The problem was never your choice to be private. The problem is the digital trap everyone else is currently falling into, where visibility is mistaken for value. Think about the social comparison theory again. Every time you scroll past a perfect photo, your brain subconsciously asks, am I doing enough? Am I happy enough? Do I look good enough? This is a cycle of endless performance. But the person who doesn't post has exited the game entirely. They have realized that peace over performance is the only way to maintain mental health in the 21st century. They aren't antisocial. They are emotionally intelligent enough to know that the digital world is a distortion of reality. They choose to be invisible so they can remain invincible to the opinions of others. Society might call you shy or suggest that you're boring because you don't have a digital archive of your life. But those words are just a reflection of their own insecurity. Here is the reality. You have discovered the difference between being known and being understood. Being known is a matter of quantity. How many people saw your face today? Being understood is a matter of quality. Who actually knows your heart? You've realized that you don't need to be seen by the world to feel seen by the people who matter. You don't need a digital trail to prove you existed. Your life isn't a museum, it's a private sanctuary. This brings us to the final, most important realization. The people who post the most are often the ones trying the hardest to convince themselves that they are happy. But the person who stays quiet? They don't need to convince anyone. Their happiness is a private fact, not a public statement. If you are one of these people, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not falling behind. You are not forgetting to live. You are the one who is actually living. You are the one who is present enough to enjoy the sunset without reaching for your pocket. You are the one who is confident enough to have a beautiful life and keep it all to yourself. So, next time you feel the pressure to post or the guilt for staying quiet, remember this. Real confidence doesn't need a like. Real security doesn't need an audience. And real life happens in the quiet moments that no one will ever see. You aren't invisible. You are just finally focused on what's real. That's not a flaw. That's real power. If this video resonated with you, if you are the person who stays quiet, or if you finally understand why someone you love does, leave a comment below. Let's talk about the beauty of a private life. Subscribe to this channel if you want to keep decoding the human mind and understanding why we do what we do. Take a deep breath, put the phone down, and go live a life that no one has to know about. I'll see you in the next one.